Council meeting this morning. I hope everybody had a great new year. Miss Stephanie, can you give us a roll call?
Madam Mayor Rodenrock,
Here?
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Here.
Councilman Brown,
Here.
Councilman Hart,
Here.
and Councilman Lewandowski.
Very good, thank you, I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
None that have been turned into me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, today we are going to conduct interviews for our future city manager for Keystone Heights. And what we want to do at this time is look at our references that were conducted in the last week or so and discuss them. Our first candidate is going to be Mr. Elmon Garner. And we just kind of want to review him and kind of chat amongst each other since we haven't seen him up until today. Any comments, you all?
Since I got the references, do you want me to start?
Sure.
I wanted to get a cross-section of people that, and he had quite an impressive list of references, but Mr. Mike Weeks, Council President of the Town of Sneeds, gave a very, very favorable report. In fact, nobody gave an unfavorable report. Mr. Eric Hill, he's a fireman. They have their own fire department. And you have a letter that was faxed or emailed to me in your packet. Here again, extremely favorable. Wendy Lewis, she was is a volunteer who worked with him. She did not have a lot to say, either bad or good, because she didn't have a lot of contact with him. She's a volunteer. Actually, she lives in another city, but nothing unfavorable. And Daniel Cox, the town attorney, one thing that stood out with Mr. Cox's report was, I wish I had Lee's Rolodex, because he knows everybody, at least in Tallahassee. His current city is 45 minutes from Tallahassee, and he spends a lot of time in Tallahassee, and he's very well connected with the state and various agencies, including the Army Corps and so on. So you can read through the reports, but there really wasn't anything negative. I did find one negative thing that I'm going to bring out when he's here. It's minor, and I'm sure it can be explained away. But other than that, his references were very supportive of him. They hate to see him go, and he has quite a resume, as you've seen. So that's about it. I'm not going to sit and read the reports, but they're all good.
Any comments?
No, that was what I was looking for, was who called and what they were said.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the gentleman, and I'm sorry, I don't, off the top of my head, is he the one that was the interim
Yes.
in
Yes.
Pulaski?
Yes.
Okay. I had a phone call from one of our previous city managers
Mhm.
that is now the county manager.
Right. Terry Suggs.
Terry Suggs, and he was very favorable. He said when we had that bad storm come through, and Putnam County got a lot of it, Mr. Gardner was at the EOC the whole time, just about.
Yeah.
Because he was the interim manager at the time.
He followed Terry.
Yes.
He stepped in when Terry went to the county.
I wonder why they didn't hire him.
I think it was just a permanent or a temporary gig. That'd be my impression, but we could ask him that.
Are we going to talk about all of them? Or
No,
one
just right before. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's probably a better idea.
So once you have a chance to read through my reports, if you have any questions, I can comment on some of it, but it's all good.
Okay. Any comments, Chris?
No,
Nope.
not right now.
No, it was just the
No.
one, why wasn't he even considered for the job? I don't know if he was-
I think you might want to talk into the microphone.
If you read
We're
his
talking
resume, he's
together,
kind
But
of,
it's being recorded.
We're not recording today, so
Oh,
if,
as long as you can hear each other.
yeah,
we're not
oh,
recording?
okay, I didn't
Good.
know. I thought
Can we turn
we
this
were.
thing off?
as long as,
Yeah.
when you read his resume, you'll see he was kind of a skipping stone. He went from job and from state to state. He's been around. That's not necessarily a negative, but perhaps he just was there as an interim.
Well, so in my research, it looked like he was in 5 cities in Georgia, a year or two apart, different parts of Georgia. He was at Chattahoochee for 21 years.
Right.
And he was at Sneeds for like 1 or 2 years. He has a huge, chunk of experience as a city manager. in different cities across
Mhm.
between the two states.
Right.
Ton of experience there, plus he's ex-military, career military. I think my biggest concern is, again, we're looking at not only today, but what does our next 5 years look like?
Yeah.
We've been so blessed to have Lynn for as long as we've had her, and that longevity is really, to me, it's important.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his future plans are.
Well,
you
he
know?
did stick with Chattahoochee for several years, and then on his resume, why did you leave? He said retired, and that would be, what, 20 years ago or something?
Exactly.
Yeah, so,
And then he was with Sneed, I think, 1 or 2 years, something like that.
he's been with Sneed for a while, but he's made a great impression, and apparently he's very, very good at getting grants.
Very connected.
Very
without a doubt.
extremely connected, yeah, on both on the state and local level.
So let me just recognize that. So we are recording what's happening, but we're not live.
Correct. Yeah.
I see.
And Lynn and I will talk about whether or not we're gonna post.
I'm sorry, say what?
Lynn and I will talk about whether or not we're gonna post the interviews, like
This part?
the whole thing.
Oh,
Okay. Dan, did you have some, didn't you call? About
No.
references? Oh, no?
No.
Oh,
Well, before we did the first round, I did talk to Siri Suggs also.
Uh-huh.
And, because I knew he had been at Palaca, and Terry had nothing but good stuff to say.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, all my scoring was very high, actually, all three. I looked at them side by side just last night, and these three were definitely very close, but then there's some that were very far away on certain parameters of that scoring. So, like I said, I think my whole goal with this is find out who is the best person for us right now and into the next few years, into the next decade, and to focus on what does that person bring to us as their whole package of knowledge. So I think it's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, I think,
we, without a doubt, have three very impressive candidates.
I think what we're probably looking for here is a plug-and-play situation where a person come in and do the job. And that's one of the things I think I'm gonna want to explore when I talk to them.
I have one comment.
Mhm.
Actually, I wrote it down because I want to make this right. I make the motion to retain our current city manager, Ms. Lynn Rutkowski. Offer her a yearly wage of $80,000 or more and purchase a city vehicle for official use only.
Do I have a second?
well, how about some discussion?
Yeah.
For some discussion.
Well, for the sake of the record, I'll second it just so we can discuss it.
So, I'm the most recent add to the council, and she's leaving, and so I have asked her to meet with me. I bought her lunch 3 different times, and we go and we spend 2 hours at a restaurant, and I pick her brain of everything I can think of. And, although I'd love to have her stay, she's set on going. She is just set. And so I think that's a wonderful thought. I think it would just really mess up our interviews, kind of our process here.
Well, I think that we should ask her. I think that we should ask her if she would consider that. It's not fair for us to sit and for me to throw that out without asking her.
Can I make a suggestion? I'm going to do it in the form of a motion. I'm going to make a motion to table this until our meeting of the 8th, I think it is, so that we can go ahead with the interviews today. I'm not doing this to kill the idea. I'm doing this simply so that we have an orderly process.
Well, her last day is the 10th.
Mhm.
So I think that we should offer her this opportunity and have her either think about it and give us an answer, or I think it's only fair. We did, as a council, want her to stay when she originally said that she was going to resign. We did say, if we offer you more money, we all did, we wanted her to stay. But we never followed up on it. Nobody did. except,
I've talked to
Till
her.
now.
I've talked to her. and
Why?
they-
We've all talked to her,
Yeah,
probably.
I think so.
Okay.
At one
Yeah,
time or
I've talked to
another.
her.
you know, after you
Many
make a
times.
decision like that, and you start thinking about it, and you think about your life a little bit, maybe you change your mind.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I think it's only fair to her. She's been a stellar city manager. She lives, breathes, and eats City Hall. I mean, she's dedicated, and going into 2024, I would like to see what happens with her still at the helm. I think we should offer it to her. Give her the opportunities to say no out loud to everybody.
Well, we have 3 people in the bullpen for today, so I think
No. And part of the thing was to decide today and go into negotiations right away, so that by the 8th, we can have someone sitting in the seat. If we delay or table this, we're putting the other 3 candidates in a
allow me to
pickle.
amend my motion. I'll table this to the end of today when we're in discussion. Can we do that? That's my motion.
I'll second that. Yeah. But we've already gone down the road to having these 3 come,
Right.
so it's
Right.
fair to just,
You know,
interview them, hear them out. I've had a awesome job one time, and was when I was young, and I could be retired right now with a big chunk of money, but I made a decision to leave, and I never could get back in.
yeah.
So, and I understand what you're saying. At the time, you want to go, but after you've had
Yes.
time to think about it, you say, what am I doing? I understand where you're coming from, because I've been there.
Well, we talked about the salary ranges for other city managers with, that are like Keystone, and they made a heck of a lot more. I don't live in those towns, I don't know, how they performed as city manager in their positions, but I'll tell you one thing. I've seen Lynn, and we've all seen Lynn in action in this town. She's active, she's never not thinking about what's going on in Keystone. I think that we should offer her the opportunity. Maybe she's changed her mind.
Well, Steve and I have worked with her for 12 years.
Well,
So, and we know from the beginning when Terry Suggs hired her for code enforcement, and her steps up and everything, so.
well, my motion is just to table to the end of the day, and I think at the end of the day, we can invite her in and discuss the motion with her face to face. Perhaps our clerk sometime during the day can relay to Lynn what we're doing.
Absolutely.
That would be great. I call the question. I'd like to have a vote on my motion to table.
I just have a couple of comments
Okay.
before we vote. Just in my short time, and I've observed this from afar since we bought the house, because I work with Lynn, code enforcement and all that. And then also as Heritage Commission Chairman, interactions, and then now. And you all know my compassionate feelings for Lynn. I've stood behind her, watched things that have happened to her that were unexpected and unfair in the last several years. And my heart went out to her. I wanted to go to her many times and say, you need to file a complaint with ethics because this is not okay. But the whole thing is, I don't honestly believe that Lynn is leaving because of money. I think we could throw a salary at her, and I agree and I respect what you all are thinking here wholeheartedly. To me, I felt like it probably should have already been done a while ago. But personally, I think she's been hurt physically and mentally by the community, the outcry, the comments, the unfair statements, which I am going to look into how we're going to deal with that in 2024 moving forward. But the whole point is, I don't feel like it's anything about money. I feel like she's lost a little bit of her passion because of being hurt. I would too. You've got to be like Gibraltar. I mean, you got to be stone-faced to take some of the abuse that I've seen happen, which is totally not right. So I do think it's more personal for her than financial. And I respect her decision and support her. Told her I'd give her the best references she could imagine. But I want to respect her feelings. And certainly we can move forward and vote on this and do that later on today, but that's just kind of how I feel about the situation.
My motion is just a motion to table to consider it later, that's all. And discuss it with her at the appropriate time.
And let me add one more comment. In our last lunch meeting, I asked her, would she be willing to come back as a consultant one day a week or a few hours a week over the next month or 2 months or 3 months in case our current city manager, our new city manager has questions and wants to know about the history or something like that. And she said she'd be glad to do that for us, just come up with some kind of consulting contract. So I also look at, she's not totally abandoning us. And she could be around for quite a while as
Well,
a consultant.
And she said earlier today when I asked her point blank, are you gonna sell your house? She said no.
Right,
So she's gonna be part of the community.
right. So even if we can't hire her back, it's not like we're completely and totally losing her.
Well, I wouldn't say, use the word can't. It's always on the table, all you have to do is ask.
I think that's a little unfair to the 3 people that we invited to come here today.
That's why I wanted,
You know what, I was out in the workforce. I don't know that it's unfair. I think that it's unfortunate that they would have to travel and change their plans and make plans to be here. But this is a paying job. This is the real world, and this is a paying job, and it's a good paying job.
Okay.
So I would be here too, and even if I had to turn around and go home, I would be disappointed, yeah. But I feel that it's more fair to at least give Lynn the opportunity to publicly say, I don't want to be here, no, thank you. Anyway.
are you okay though with deferring this till the end of the day so that we can
Well,
listen to these folks?
I'm kind of okay with it.
Okay. Just so we can get on.
But it's not a unanimous vote yet, so.
Well, it doesn't need to be unanimous, but
We're
as
just-
long as it's.
Well, you know what I mean.
We're not going to the merits of your motion, we're just going to the timing of when we're gonna really discuss it.
So we'll discuss that at the end of the day at the end of our interviews.
So let's have the vote on it? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead and do this.
Do the
Do the
motion?
motion to table it?
I did, I did, and we
Yeah.
seconded.
I seconded.
Yeah, and we're
Okay.
voting on that now, just
Aye.
just to the end of the day.
Yeah.
Mhm, at the end of the day.
Yes.
Okay.
Good,
Unanimous?
I'm good.
Aye.
Okay, good.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Council members, would you like me to invite Mr. Garner in?
I
Absolutely.
think so.
Did he
How
bring
are
a
we gonna
pizza?
do this? Don't need to discuss how this is, we just going down.
We're going to score the questions are going
I
to be
know,
asked.
but I mean, when we're down the line,
What, these questions?
or, yeah.
Yes. She'll ask them in order.
I was gonna ask the question.
Oh, Stephanie, oh, okay, see, I didn't know Stephanie.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Garner.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank
Welcome to Keystone Heights.
you very much. I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far.
Great.
Day to day.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to go down the table here and let us introduce ourselves to you.
My name is Steve Hart, I'm a retired attorney, and I've been on the city council now for about 10 years.
Good morning, Happy New Year. My name's Christine Thompson, I'm Vice Mayor.
Good morning. I'm Mayor Nina Rodenroth, and I've been in this role since April of this year, or last year. Get to remember that. And I retired from healthcare after 52 years in January last year.
Good morning. I'm Dan Lewandowski. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I'm also a professor at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and this is my second time on city council.
Good morning, I'm Tony Brown. I've been involved in the city government for almost 30 years, off and on. I used to be the mayor for 4 years, and I'm self-employed on my own business.
Okay.
So we're very happy to have you here today. Can you take just a few minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, ma'am, I'd be glad to. And have you been involved in politics before?
Me? No, not at all.
You look so familiar with some people, someone I've met in the far bigger cities along the way.
The mayor, I have to say, the mayor of St. Augustine at one time, y'all favor.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
that may be.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But when I saw the name and all, I didn't remember the name, but the face, you must have a twin sister. Well, I started out years and years ago. I'm little sharecropper farmer's son from North Carolina. Plowed mules, cropped tobacco, picked cotton, slop hogs, and all that stuff growing up. Very, very big going. High school, went into the Army after high school, and spent 20 years in the Army, and I won't hold that against you. I've been there for No, but then when I retired, I wanted to go back overseas, work overseas, maybe the State Department or something. Got my master's degree in public administration, and wound up the first job I applied for after I got my master's in public administration was a city administrative job over in Georgia, and I got it and been there ever since. And been in city management business ever since. Variety of jobs, variety of cities. Most of them small, kind of like you are here, and small cities make the world go around. Mm-hmm. But I have a variety of experience, as you can see, and I'm sure somebody's probably called and talked to a reference or two that I had on there, and I wouldn't give you.
I believe I talked to 5.
Okay.
And you got a lot of friends.
Well, I do. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not tooting my horn, but I do. And I believe if with what you put out as your requirements for a manager, I don't think you can find anybody that's got more overall experience in doing most of this. The only thing I haven't really been involved in directly is the downtown development authority. Although I've been in 2 cities where we had main streets, which are, basically you're trying to develop downtown and get things. But other than that, I have been involved in various cities. I've been with just about everything that's on here, from collective bargaining and on down. I look forward. When I saw a friend of mine from Palatka, I was there for interim city manager back in 2019, and a friend of mine from there called me and said, "Hey, I think the day y'all made the announcement, he called me and said, 'Hey, you applied for the Keystone Heights.'" I said, "There was." So I did. I think the same day applied for. And let me tell you one thing. I want to tell you, you've got a jewel in there in Lynn. She has really been fantastic. I've called her and asked her for a few things and had a few minutes to talk to her yesterday. But she has been really great giving me the budget and telling me some things that's going on and back and forth. But she's great. I know she's going to be a loss and going to be some big shoes to fill. But I feel like I can do it, and I hope 5 years from now I can come in and say good morning to you like I did this morning.
Great. Well, we're going to ask Ms. Silva, our city clerk, we had collected questions that we put together, and she'll conduct some questions, and what we'll do is a scoring process is how we would handle this. So go ahead, Ms. Stephanie.
Mr. Garner,
Yeah.
why do you want to work for the city of Keystone Heights and as a city manager?
Well, I'm a city manager by trade, by blood. I've been doing it a long time. I enjoy it. I enjoy people. If I've ever met a stranger, I don't know who it was. I've always been in small governments, and I'm available tomorrow if I'm selected. Start work tomorrow if selected, because my last day on job was December 31st. But it's just a small town. I've done some research, and I think you've got a lot of opportunities. I know that probably water and sewer is probably one of the things on the horizon out there somewhere down the road. But I imagine that at some time the water management district or somebody's probably going to mandate, or EPD or EPA or somebody going to mandate that you get off of some of the sewer. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think that somebody would my background can come in and hit the road running. But just working in small towns, I love small towns. I'm very involved in the city, churches, civic organizations. I'm a Rotarian, and I'm current commander of our American Legion in Chattahoochee. I've been, and I'm very involved, have been very involved in Florida City's policy committees, and would love to be able to continue that role. And I've been on the board of directors of Florida City County Managers Association nearly about 15 years. I was on the board of directors of that. Never aspired to be president, because every small city I've been in have been small and with very limited budgets and all that. And in order to be, president of FCCMA, it costs you money from home to do that. And I just didn't know what to subject the city I had to spend that extra money.
What can you bring to the citizens and taxpayers if you become the city manager?
A wealth of experience in small government, small utilities, units of local government, planning, administration, finance, budgeting. I want to look at where I've got a copy of the budget, and I think you're doing a great job with what you got, but there's always limited amounts of money you spend. I haven't had a chance to get over to Public Works yet, but I'd like to make sure. One thing I do is, if I ask the employees to go out and do something, I wouldn't ask them to do something I wouldn't go out and do it, help them with in the trenches or whatever need to be done, as long as it's not something that's technical that I'm not qualified for, or something like that. But just being involved and letting people know we care. I always try to find a way when somebody comes in that door out there. Most of the time they have a problem. They have something they want to get off their mind. And I've always tried to find a way to say yes before I say no. I've been in some government offices where the moment you walk in the door, you know the moment you walked in, and you go out feeling worse than you did when you come in. But I always try, I have empathy, and try to make sure that I do everything we can within bounds, of course. We got policies and guidelines and ordinances and charter and all that we have to follow. But I like to be helpful. And I imagine, I'm not 100% sure, but I imagine there's several elderly people here in town, and they need help and a little bit of extra assistance here and there. They just say across the street, help the Boy Scout, help them across the street or something like this. But I can. It'll probably take me a month or so to learn all the ins and outs, or maybe a little bit more. But I don't think it'd take long, because Lynn has given me a lot of information that some of the projects that you got going on.
Okay. Have you reviewed any of the Keystone Heights ordinances? Have you had a chance to look over those?
I have glanced at them. I have not read them in detail, but I went on Google and went down through some of them. You've got well-written ordinances. There are a few minor changes I might would suggest as I would get more involved in the government and so forth. But for the most part, you've got a good charter and ordinances. I like the way they're constructed.
Are you a notary currently?
No, ma'am, but my daughter is.
Do you have a copy of the Government in the Sunshine Manual and use it for reference from time to time?
Keep it in my desk all the time, that and the code of ethics, and you name it. More than one time I referred to it.
And this kind of leads in, or follows that question. How would you avoid violating the Sunshine Law when discussing or otherwise communicating with city council members about pending matters that could potentially be voted on by the council?
Well, the manager works for all the council. I'm working with an individual, but, and normally takes a little lead from, normally the mayor, like if you're gonna take a day off or something, you clear through, the mayor know where if you're gonna be going or something. But you can talk to the individual councilman, and you can't go back and say, he said that and she said that, and you've got to be careful on that, but I try to be a consensus builder where I can, but I've been in the business long enough that I know that some things you just can't discuss one with another, but once you can, because we're a team. Council and manager is a team, and there's no I in team, and that's the way that I work. And if I send something to one, I send it to everybody. I always like to give, and again, talk about this, I guess, later on, but where you have one council meeting a month, I found it to be very, very helpful if maybe a couple of weeks prior to council meeting, you could have a public work session where you could come in and discuss things that you know is going to come in the council, because it's always going to be that last minute, something comes up that you got to put on the agenda last minute. But if you've had a chance to come in here, and controversial, non-controversial, whatever, and I find out that one councilman wants this, that, at least you've got some time to work out the details or study or get with the attorney on the legalities of some of the things. And when you go to council meeting, you're not there to 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning arguing over some things that you could have already worked out. I found that it works out good. I always, and I don't know what days you send your agenda packets out, but I always like to put a report to council of what's in there. It's like going in a little bit more detail of what's in the minutes on the agenda. And then for the citizens, I always do a report of council. And again, I don't know what, Facebook or whatever, if the local newspaper would publish a 1-page or 2-page document to inform the citizens that this is what happened at council, so that they can't say that nobody's letting them know anything. So I believe in communication with the public.
Have you had any formal training in computer programs such as Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, Canva, and has your training been on the job?
All mine has been on the job, yes, ma'am. Excel and Office, I have never, and some at home on QuickBooks at home, but we've always had the city programs and for utilities and payroll and everything at the city, and you learn as much of that as you can, but sometimes you can't learn all of it. But at least I'm knowledgeable, working with computers and doing reports and so forth.
If you were appointed city manager, what do you feel would be your role in the event that the city of Keystone Heights experiences a significant weather event?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm reading. I hope, and I haven't asked this question, but I hope that we're tied in with Clay County's emergency management. I hope that there's the agreement and all, if something happened in Clay County, they cover it, they would come to Keystone just like they would anybody else, help with debris, filing FEMA reports, because FEMA is one of the hardest things in the world to work with when it comes to management. We're still working with Michael over 5 years after the fact with FEMA, where I was just at. $13 million waiting to get approved agreements, but don't have funding. You can't get them funded, and the governor brought us a check for $5 million for made pictures of everything, and people wonder why you got $5 million? Why can't you? But you can't cash that cardboard check, and people don't seem to understand that, and you just keep but I was sure wanting to work with the county, and Lynn told me yesterday you have a real good relationship with the county, but I found out every place I've been, that the county take the brunt, and there must be an instrument of the county working, because probably the expertise and of that, because I know calamities and emergencies happen.
How did you handle the COVID pandemic in your former position?
Well, it came as a shock to all of us, but we never, at the time, I had just, well, so-called retired from Chattahoochee, but after being at Platinum for 5 months, it got my juices flowing again, my blood. I just love the job. I mean, I love being part of the local government and working and helping people. I was not personally involved, because I was not actually at the time of COVID in the managerial position for a little period of time, but then I came into it after, in Sneed's came in afterwards. They closed the city hall for about a month with some people coming in sporadically and doing some things. But as far as I got involved with the CARES Act, after the CARES Act, I was very involved in that, and we were able to get us a new fire rescue vehicle and all kinds of fire, volunteer fire department, and getting all kinds of stuff for that, and the police department through the CARES Act. So I got in on kind of the tail end of it, but I went to school. I learned a lot, from what I did after.
Are you familiar with the Black Creek Water Project and the impact it will have on the city of Keystone Heights?
I've just heard about it, but I'm not familiar with it. Something I'll have to get some learning on, as they say.
Have you ever managed a cemetery? If so, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. Over in Camilla, Georgia. I was city manager in Camilla, Georgia, with a cemetery, and it can be a headache, especially when you have racial and ethnic problems, and we had that, so I had to be very careful how we handle certain groups going into certain cemeteries at times, and that became I guess the toughest issue was fighting that racial balance to make sure that somebody wasn't putting next to somebody else, but it just, but yes, I do, and also in Loganville, Georgia, we had a small one. We didn't have a big one, we had a small one, but it's I know it can be heart-wrenching and all, because you're dealing with people that at the time in their life when they really need empathy and all that, and try to work with them in any way you can.
What do you know about smart cities and how Keystone Heights is involved?
Not a whole lot about smart cities, but I know it's an up-and-coming program that's out on the horizon out there. I've been up in the Panhandle, and we've been part of the counties and localities that have been designated as areas of critical economic concern. So it's haven't had a lot of research, and especially up in the Panhandle area since 2018, everything's been regarding Hurricane Michael, from 2018, and still today, and we get devastation all over the Panhandle. But it's another something I pick up and learn. What I have to do, if we're go to school at night, days, weekend, or whatever, you know, pick it up. It's not something I couldn't do.
City growth on a large scale is expected due to the development of property on Sunrise Boulevard and the property behind Brooklyn Boys on Fox Run Road. In your opinion, what are the top 3 issues that the city will have to deal with concerning these 2 developments?
Okay. Are they in the city limits? Okay. Are the site ready? First thing, if they're not site ready, you can have 5,000 acres out here, and developers are going to pass you by. If you haven't gone out and done environmentals, the endangered species, you've got the property owners, statement signed by the property owners that they're willing to negotiate and work, and you've got some kind of price range set down for it, so that you can, because if you don't have things site ready, and I know I was chairman of in Gadsden County, I was chairman of the Economic Development Authority for years, and we had land galore, but nothing was site ready, so we worked with University of Florida and Duke Power and others to get some sites certified. And so if you got certified sites, then you can say, Mr. Developer, come over here, we got this, and this, and you need to have the sewer, water and sewer, and all the utilities, and the roads program and everything for it, because if you don't, they'll pass you by. So, it was something I would study to see, and again, I don't know if you know the site ready or not, but if they're not, that's the first thing you need to work for is get them site ready.
Budgeting experience is a definite must for any management position. In your former position, did you independently create, manage, and maintain the budget?
Every place I've ever been, I've done the budget. And we work in conjunction with the department heads, of course, but it's, and most of them, I prepare kind of a pro forma budget based on experience and get with department heads and see what they need to add to or delete from, and go to the council with that, with kind of a consensus of what's needed. But one thing I do, I don't believe in sending workers out to do a job without the equipment to do it with.
All right. We are a small city, therefore grants are essential for funding projects. What type of experience do you have with obtaining grants?
Well, probably over my years in this, I've probably got over $100 million in grants from various different cities. Deferred out, of course, I don't know, I know you've got some parks and all that, again, I don't know. Some of them are so competitive, and I'm just driving around, I don't know what your low and moderate income ratio is, your low and moderate income that counts so much toward grants. But there are lots of grants out there, lots of fellowships, lots of organizations that work. But public-private partnership, again, I don't know what y'all have done, but you've got to have that public-private partnership in today's world to get things done. FEMA, of course, is a boondoggle, but you need a kind of an emergency for that. But you've got USDA and the EPA and the State Department, the governor's office. If you have a good rapport with your state legislators, it's a good way to get money in the governor's budget, to help with things like this. But it would grants. I've written them. I've administered them and been the project manager on lots of them. But further out, and again, I don't know what the qualifications are for that, but special recreation and stuff like that.
What background or knowledge do you have about community redevelopment areas, also known as the CRA?
Well, like I said, I've never actively been involved in the CRA, but I've had two cities with the Main Street programs, which act a lot like that. But it's not something that I wouldn't be wouldn't be afraid to, grasp a hold of and, jump on board. It's something, I'm sure I can learn it. It's just part of one of the things I just never have been involved in the small cities I've been. You know, Camilla, Palatka, that's CRA, but, you know, in 5 months I just got involved with it a little bit, but not enough to direct it or help her direct it or anything.
Could you please describe your experience with local utility finances?
Yes, ma'am. Electric, water, sewer, gas, and I've never seen a water and sewer utility make much money. I've been involved in several cities with electric and gas, where that was a cash cow. You could use them for doing all kinds of things. And I know you'll have agreement here, I think, the Clay County Utilities Authority, but I was president of an 8-state association, the Southeastern Federal Reference Customers, because people with hydropower, you know, fortunate in Chattahoochee, we had a dam, which we got a lot of utilities for electricity at a reduced rate, and that's what helped Chattahoochee have such good financial program is that natural gas. Of course, we distributed the board of directors of the Florida Municipal Electric Association, I'm the president of the Florida Municipal Electric Association, and the Florida Natural Gas Association. I know there are lots of money available through people like Duke or Florida Power, Florida Power Line, and Keystone. Keystone Energy is over the other side of the state. Alabama elected that you can get involved in and get funding to help with things like that.
Keystone Heights is going to have a centennial celebration. What experience do you have in planning large events?
Glad you asked, but that was going to be one of my questions. Go ahead. Have y'all got a plan? Have you got a centennial planning commissioner started yet?
I can answer that. We have a nonprofit corporation,
Oh.
separate from the city.
Okay, yeah.
And that's been in existence now for about 2 years. We've got directors and officers, and we have a plan.
Good, because I saw when you were 25, it'd be 100 years. I was involved in April, about at the outskirts of Atlanta for their 100th anniversary back in 1990, and was deeply involved in that. Although we had a nonprofit organization kind of to run, spearheaded. We just kind of gave them some money and worked out the details and all. But that's Jim Foxworthy was born and raised in April, went to Hale High School in Bicentennial. He was our big headliner that came in and went to all the schools, the reunions and all that.
You might be a redneck, that guy.
Yeah.
But he was, but we really enjoyed it. It was fun. I mean, being part of that.
Do you have any relationships or friendships with current employees or elected officials of the city, Camp Landing, local business leaders, Clay County, and/or Clay County city public officials, and representatives of St. John's Water District? If so, please elaborate, and if you need me to repeat that, I will gladly so.
Well, I know Sarah Campbell, who is the manager of Green Coast, real good friend of mine. I just didn't bring it with me, but I have met the manager of Clay County manager, and I know nobody here in Keystone. I don't know if anybody I checked, and you're in the second Florida League of Cities congressional legislative district, and I went down the list of all the managers that's in District 2, and I know about 3/4 of the managers that are in the District 2 Florida League of Cities layout, you know. So, but I bet I think Representative Payne and Representative she was over Congressman K-Mac now, you know. She's
Not anymore.
not,
Aaron Bean is our.
oh, yeah.
Cat
Yeah,
County.
I met him, and I'll tell you, I don't mind going to Congress's door or anybody and knocking on doors, and because they don't have the money like they used to just give out, but they have opened a program now where you can go into the congressman or senator's offices with a project, and you know, they'll help, but with today's makeup in Washington, it's hard to predict what you're gonna get and who you're gonna get, but you know, I don't mind going asking. I ask in a heartbeat.
You are asked to do something unlawful, unethical, or against the city regulations by a city council member. What would your response be? How would you move forward from this situation?
Well, first thing is it's violation, I think, of the code of ethics or the policy, whatever it might be. And again, this is one time that I would call the city attorney and inform him what went on, so that he knows at least one side of the story when he hears the other side of the story. But no, I'm very, very ethical, because I learned my lesson years and years ago, which y'all probably knew in there when I went to a football game.
I've got some paperwork on it. I have a little bit of paperwork I was gonna ask about.
Yeah, but that was.
Stuff happens.
Oh yeah, but had an administrative, I violated an administrative order, didn't violate the ethics, I didn't report it the same month, the same quarter it happened in.
All right, so the next question is, the Florida League of Cities has bronze, silver, and gold level certificates for city managers. Tell us what you know about these certificates, how they can be used to make you a better city manager, and how they can improve the city itself.
Well, I read somewhere that I used to be a member of ICMA years ago in Hapeville and a couple, but in small cities, the dues have just gotten so expensive that I, again, trying to be a good steward of the city money, I've opted not to be, because everything ICMA does, Florida City County Managers Association does, you know, we're arm in arm on that. I subscribe to the ICMA Code of Ethics, of course, and the Florida League of Cities, and go to the 4-hour refresher course every year like everybody else, and I hope 5 years from now, these people are still sitting here because they don't run off because of the new Form 6 that everybody's got to fill out, which is, you know, a lot of people even the local government because of an unintended consequence, I think, that the legislature did. But by being on the board of directors, about 15 years of the board of directors at CCMA, I've stayed involved, and again, I think I mentioned it earlier, the reason I didn't know it was for president, because of the added expenses for a small government that I just didn't want to take advantage of local government, because I could have been president of FCCMA several years ago, but it just, I'm a good steward of money.
Curious, how much are the dues? to be a member?
I think there's over $600 now.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Yeah. And FCCMA is 200 or something like that. You know. And I'd like to continue membership with FCCMA we have they used to be the range riders, and now they're called senior advisors that are retired city managers who are on the ICMA board. And we have Ken Parker, who's over on the coast over here. He's vice president of ICMA, and he represents us. Really well on that. And like I say, we're lockstep with ICMA, Florida City County Managers Association is. So if you're member one, to me, you're going to mingle with both of them. It's like we used to be with National League of Cities, you know, and again, it just got so expensive that, you know, for small towns, you know, but I get involved. I won the Home Rule Award for Florida League of Cities for several years now for, you know, being involved in the legislative activities for the Northwest Florida League of Cities, and I would like to continue. I think y'all are y'all in Northeast?
Yes.
Northeast League of Cities, yeah. And I'd like to continue, you know, get involved in that. Because, you know, and somebody me, I'm well known in Florida League of Cities. And I know that there's maybe some concern, but I feel that I've got another good 5 years or more of good service. I have no problems. The only thing I have, knee replaced this summer. But as far as ailments or sicknesses or high blood pressure or anything, you know, I'm ready. I'm saying if I'll go out and do anything with the Public Works Department that I need to do to help them, because like I said, I don't ask anybody to do something I wouldn't do.
Would you, as a condition of employment, participate in some type of education or training that would directly assist you in your duties while in the position of city manager, such as one offered by the Florida City and County Management Association, the FCCMA?
Yes, ma'am. Of course, you know, the Winter Institute will be coming up in February. That and the managers conference, and then each district, each Florida FCCMA district, they have their own individual trainings, and I would sure get involved in that, and have meetings and here and there once in a while. But yes, I would really like to do that to keep up, because networking in this job, if you don't want to network, you don't get the job done.
How would you handle conflict with the public? Also, how would you handle conflicts with employees if any were to arise?
Okay, well, let's start with the public first. Like I said earlier, they walk in the door, they probably got something on their mind. And I'm trying to find a way to say yes before saying no, but in some cases, you just got to say no where it's ethical or not legal or against all policies in the world or something. But I found if you'll talk to them and show empathy, a lot of cases, you know, they go out patting you on the shoulder for thank you for at least trying. Although there's some you can't please, and I'm sure y'all got 4 or 5 people here in Keystone Heights that think they were in the city, and I mean I can tell you every city I've ever been in, there's always that few that think they can do and know everything, and but you just have to, you know, greet them with joy and cheer and wish them on and pat them on the shoulder and say, hey, we'll do it again next time or whatever. So, now for employees, it's a little different. You know, that's one of the hardest things in the world to do is fire an employee. Because in a small town like this, with just a few employees, I don't have a bunch of staff back in there all the time and do your job, because you got to be out here knowing what the people are doing, and if the parks are being cleaned and the streets have been, potholes been fixed or whatever. You need to be out and aware and know what the employees are doing. And I try to, I say, if somebody can't work for me, they can't work for anybody in the world. That's the way I feel. But I'm not heavy-handed or anything. I believe in giving a fair chance when it's due, but in some cases, you just have to listen and do things right now that has to be done that for the benefit of the employee and the city. Take action as prescribed in the personnel policy manual.
Can you please describe a specific scenario when you were faced with an unexpected issue and how you handled it?
Yes, ma'am. I guess the one that upset me the most was going back to this ethics thing. I went to a football game, my wife and I, back years ago when it was Progress had Florida Power Corporation. And the councilman and his wife sat at the next table to us and had the same steaks and wine and everything that my wife and I had. But yet he made an ethics. He worked for the fire marshal, the state fire marshal's office, and was a councilman. And drove a state car, and his wife was a florist, and he took the state car and was delivering flowers to different churches and places on his way to work and around on the state car. It came to my attention to the newspaper we had, the weekly newspaper. She said, "You know what he's doing? You see him?" And we kind of opened our eyes and kept some times on him, and it just got to the point that it was talk of the town, and so I made an inquiry to his office as to what he was doing. As city manager, I thought that it was he was violating, especially car use policy, delivering flowers and all that, and being home at 2 o'clock every afternoon, back to work, being home from work over that. So it blossomed into a complaint, and then he turned me in to the ethics for being, getting tickets that benefited more than $100, because the bill was more than $100 for me and my wife and all that stuff. So that went on for 2 or 3 months, and then finally I signed an administrative order where I violated, didn't report it in the time, in the quarter that it happened in. They didn't get me for the ethics violation because we didn't have it in the city policy that an amount, you could do it as long as you report it, and I just, all that stuff, I didn't report it. But I wound up paying, I drew a $2,000 administrative fee to the state for failing to report, but it was not an ethics violation, it was administrative, I just violated an administrative fee. So I did the same thing to him, and then when his ethics thing, and he got a dentist in one of the little towns, and wrote a letter that said that his wife was not able, the way the world, she was able to eat a steak because of all the dental work she was going on. And so I had already given my statement, and it was too late, I couldn't rebut it then, but like I said, she said, table right next to us, and had the same steak and wine and everything we did, but that became fire marshal's office, Inspector General came to see me and several people in town and made some notes, and so he wound up losing his job, and that's the reason there was a lawsuit filed against the city of Chattahoochee and me, and it all revolved about that, and it all turned out to be a frivolous lawsuit that he lost, no charges or anything. Just one of those things just hanging out there.
What football game did you go to?
NC State, Tar State. I'm from North Carolina, so.
Excuse me.
He's Tar Heel guy.
I'm just pulling you out.
Well, so if I get a job, you'll probably see a University of North Carolina, NC State sometime.
Planning for a city is a daily duty for the city manager. How do you prioritize city plans?
First thing, based on policies that council has approved, you got your capital improvements plan that evidently there's some money set aside annually to do certain things, and it's based on that. I saw in the budget where you got the plan in place, you go pay some money for it. Do you have a planner, or is it?
We have a contract plan.
Contract planner, yeah, so that's, okay. And like I said, some of these questions I haven't had a chance to ask Leon about, because we had about 10 minutes yesterday, but these are things you work with, and I believe in working with consultants when you can, and whatever the policies are, whatever I work for the council, and whatever the council's policies and procedures are and priorities, then that's the way we go.
You kind of already answered this one, but how savvy are you with information technology?
Well, I know what social media is, and I have a Facebook account. I haven't gotten involved in all the other stuff, and my 12-year-old grandson got it, yeah, social media, and you read some things, and sometimes some things you don't understand what you read. But it's way of the future, and it's something we all got to be savvy of, but not let it overwhelm us.
Are you active on various social media platforms?
Just Facebook.
Could you please describe any experience you have had with the public communications and negative social media?
I'm trying to not to, because I've always been, and you may not understand this, but as when I was up in Georgia, in the Atlanta Constitution, everybody called it Atlanta Constipation. But I always try to meet with the local beat writers, and personally, I've never had that confrontation. I mean, I love to show up on television with positive things. I mean, I don't mind, and I don't mind being the spokesman for the town or the city, if that's what the council wants to. But if council wants to get out there and that's fine with me. I do it in the background, but I don't mind getting out and carrying the load, whatever it might be. But personally, in all my years, I have never had a real negative news. I've always got along fine with it. And most of the time, if I write something, they print it pretty much the way I write it. Like my report to council and all that stuff like that, they report it the way I write it. If not, they don't get it.
Okay. This one's kind of a long one, so bear
Okay.
with me. How do you feel your ICMA certification enhances your experience as a city manager administrator when compared to individual or equivalent experience
She's on
non-certified?
the wrong page. I think-
That's not the right one.
Oh, they got it.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what they got.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah,
wrong.
because
Is yours the same?
Yeah, when I got my master's degree, I wanted to go back overseas and work for the State Department. That's what I was started, got an education, but didn't education for. But as I was getting close to graduation, you know, a couple of job opens were, vacancies were posted. And the first one I applied for in the little town of Waterloo, Georgia, I got as a city administrator. There I was, it was, had predominantly African American town. Me and the city attorney were white, and everybody else was pretty much African American. So I was there for, you know, a little 2 years, and the job came open in Stone Mountain of Atlanta, you know, and our engineer that we had at Wadley had always, he was from Camilla, his family was from Camilla, and he had told me, he says, you know, you're going to have to move up, you know, and so the job in Stone Mountain came up, and I had been there a little over a month, and the police chief walked in and said, Mr. Garner, my last day is going to be, I think, 20 days from then or something like that. He's a former deputy sheriff at DeKalb County, and they just needed 6 months' time to get his retirement in. So council, by having a military police background in the Army, the council said, would you take it, you know, a couple of weeks until we can hire somebody? 18 months later, I was city manager and chief of police in Stone Mountain. And I know that, I'm sure all of you know about the going on in Stone Mountain, behind Stone Mountain with the KKK and everything else there. But the former mayor was the Grand Dragons of KKK.
Oh, my goodness.
And donated 40 acres of land behind the Stone Mountain to KKK to have their meetings and all. And as I was chief of police, you know, we had Martin Luther King days, and here I was in my full police uniform and walking down Corella, Scott King on one side, and one of the daughters on the other side, walking down, and FBI and GBI and everybody else behind us back there, and then the KKK behind them, you know. But it was fun. Turn all the way on your back. And I had kind of a situation there where the mayor's mother was a slumlord. I mean, I'd say she was a slumlord in there. And her brother was city attorney. And you couldn't do anything to Miss Mary. I mean, you know, it was kind of off limits. So the job in Hayward, the guy had been there for years and created a credit union, and he was a CPA, and had created a credit union, and city of Hayward got its water from the largest water in the city of Atlanta, and they had big bills. So on New Year's Christmas Eve, auditor intern picked up an invoice that was for an even $25,000 to the city of Atlanta for utility bill. I mean, right quick, you know, all utility bills have got 18 cents and that something in most. So he asked the question, you know, can you give me an invoice of this? And so the administrator at the time, he admitted to investing $75,000 and had a set of books at home, and he had, you know, pools, campers, and all that stuff. People thought he was making money at doing other people's books and all that, and he had a credit union set up for 67 people, and I mean, we traced over $750,000 before we just threw it out, you know, because then we won't get it back, you know, that was gone. And so I applied for that job and got it, and you're talking about for a year and a half, I was really in a legislator who became mayor. And, you know, it was one of those kind where that she wanted to be boss and everything. And so a job came up in Loganville, outside of Atlanta, that I applied for and got. But getting back to what the engineer had always told me when I was in Whiteville, said if Camilla ever comes over, you need to apply for it. And that's it. And I don't know if you're familiar with Camilla, Georgia or not, but that's back in the early 90s is where they got the chicken plants started up there, growing Kegel's chicken plants and growing chickens, and they run a 30-mile force main sewer from all that chicken stuff out to farms and spray field for growing hay. So that was a big project I was involved in there, but I got the job at Camilla. And just happened to be in Tallahassee one day and down at the Civic Center, and with the fire chief and his wife from Camilla, and picked up a paper and saw a job open at Chattahoochee. I had never been, I'd always followed him. I had never been the first city manager in a town. And so after church, one Sunday, my wife and I went over to Chattahoochee, and at the restaurant we eat at, we had to be with a gentleman who was on council. He was on council for years. We sat there and talked about 2.5 hours. And out of 6 to 7 people I applied, I got the job as the first city manager in Chattahoochee and stayed 22 years. And it was godsend. I mean, I really loved it. I thought I'd be a year and a half, 2 years as the first one, up and going, you know, but I said, you have 22 years. I could have stayed longer, but at the time I was thinking about retiring, but I didn't. But then, you know, with Camilla, I went to Palacky, got my juices flowing again, because we were about 9 months, we traveled and it's got tired, and honey-do list get longer and longer and longer. But that's really, and then Sneeds came available, and it was 5 miles away, and I sleep in fast time, work in slow time, you know, we have a time zone change there, and so that's where I've been since 20.
I'm sorry?
Did I miss anything? I'm trying to.
No, you're doing fantastic. You're doing fantastic. As mentioned in your resume, Chattahoochee is home. Why Keystone Heights now?
Yeah.
Why Keystone Heights? It just happenstance?
I think I've got, like I said, at least another good 5 years. I mean, I don't have any health problems or anything. I think I've got another good 5 years to devote to somebody, service, unless some catastrophic illness would show up. But I'm within the limits of all my blood work and everything I just had. I don't have any high blood pressure and no heart problems that I'm aware of. And I said the worst thing I had was my knee replaced in June. I just want to serve again. And small town, and when I read about it, and then talked to Lynn and researched a little bit, it's right within things what I've been doing, you know, in small town, like small city. I'm sorry for that.
And once more, could you please tell us where you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Probably be ready to retire then, possibly, but probably retire. But I don't know. I just love them. I like being part of Florida League of Cities, part of the City County Managers Association. I'm the same way up in Georgia, Georgia City County Managers Association. I want to serve.
Mr. Garner, do you have any questions that you would like to ask council?
Well, you answered about the centennial. That was going to be one of the things I knew that was going to be coming up, the centennial. I kind of, I like the way things look like they're structured here. You got to get to learn who the contracts are with and all that, but Lynn really impressed me yesterday talking about how good the relationship they have with the county. But that don't happen everywhere. Because when Gadsden County, when I Chattahoochee, they thought we were in Jackson County. We're redheaded children of the county. But working with the county, working with the regional planning agency, and are y'all part of St. John's Water District? Yeah. St. John's Water District, yeah.
Yeah, they're running that Black Creek project we talked about earlier.
Okay, and just some more information on that, because I've heard about it, but I don't know, but I could sure be a fast learner.
Well, the chairman of that is actually part of the same law firm as our city attorney. So,
Who?
the chair, is that his title, chairman?
Rob Bradley.
Rob Bradley, yeah.
Who?
My law partner's the chairman of the water management.
Yeah.
His name's Rob Brad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess and I see that I got a copy of Lynn's contract. If I'm selected to what I've done in Chattahoochee and Sneeds, is I haven't been part of the Florida retirement system because of the age. But they have put a portion of what they would put in retirement, or would pay in retirement, as kind of an extra stipend, not called pay, but as another benefit on payroll, so I pay taxes on it, all now. And then I wouldn't need any health insurance. I'm retired from the Army and got TRICARE for life and Medicare with supplements. So. But again, you can all see I'm here. I feel like I'm the energizer bunny. I can keep going and going and going, and I feel like I can. I think I'm the perfect fit for what you've asked for. I really do.
You all have
And
any
I'm
questions?
I'm ready to work tomorrow if I need to.
Thank you. Do y'all have questions?
I do have one.
Sure, go ahead, Dan.
So, December 31st was your last day in Sneeds,
Yes, sir.
right? And do you mind telling us what prompted you to leave there?
Well, let's go back to last March. Our police chief left Sneeds, went across the road to Chattahoochee. They stole him from him and paid him twice what we were paying in Sneeds. And they were the former chief, got fired for insubordination in 2018, still in town. He maintained his certification. But he had a pretty good record with the sheriff's department of some questionable arrests, but like I say, there's always that 5 or 6 people in town that think they run the city. And when the vacancy came open, I was told, along with a couple of council members, that he would be hired, but we'd all be gone. It's in the business, that group of people. And after looking at him, he was insubordination and everything else, and he hadn't really maintained his certification like he thought he had. He still had 120 hours he had to make up to get his certification. And I was me and 2 of the council members were on the selection board for the police chief, because the council hired the police chief there. I didn't hire the police chief or the city clerk. I hired everybody else, but those 2 were council hired. And no way in the world I could recommend knowing his record and insubordination. And he got a lawsuit going against the state at the time he applied for wrongful determination, but he lost that to had about 3 months ago, it finally came back that he lost and had to pay attorney fees and all that. But one of the council members who was, and I'd say he's tied in with his good old boys group, in October, just out of the blue at the council meeting, he said, Mr. Garner, have you ever thought about your termination date? I said, no, I mean, nobody. I've been there since August of 2000 and never had an evaluation, and everything I'd ever heard from any council member, you're doing an outstanding job, doing great, the citizens and all that. But there was just that few people that told that. And so he said, would you bring us in November, would you bring us back a determination of when you might consider leaving? And it all stems back from police chief not getting hired. And that's where we're at, and so a couple of business people. But anyhow, I told him, I says, well, you've been here, my contract just extends, you know, and I know I had an evaluation to tell me I wasn't doing a good job, but says, if it's your desire that I move on, I can either leave December 6th, or I'll work to the end of the year, December 31st, and so they agreed to let me work to December 31st, and I left on good terms, and none of my students that I'm aware of, except maybe this one council member that a lot of people can't get along with. I hate to say it, but a lot of people can't get along with it. But at least we work together as on council and doing things.
Thank you.
Thought you might be interested in who spoke up for you. Mike Weeks,
Yes, sir.
very, very fine gentleman. Donovan Weeks, I talked to. I guess they're not related, are they?
No, they're not related.
Yeah.
But, Donovan works Department of Corrections, and Mike is the council president.
Yeah. Eric Hill with the fire department.
Yes, sir.
You had a 20-person fire department under your wing there, didn't you? Yeah. Daniel Cox, town attorney, and Wendy Lewis. Now, she's a volunteer. She does projects, I think, but they all spoke. Just thought you might like to know. Just for the record, the matter you referred to earlier, the administrative thing with the state, that was 14 or 12 years ago, so
Yes, sir.
that's it.
That was, it wasn't a ethics violation, it was just a violation of administrative.
Yeah, and you explained that it sounded like retaliation from somebody else, and that's usually how those things start, so.
Oh, it got started from somebody.
I used to, when I was practicing law up in Wisconsin, I was on a board that we investigated attorneys, and a lot of times, that's how it started. There's a couple of projects I wanted to just have you elaborate on, not a lot, but there was a $1.5 million Palatka project aimed at improving the St. Johns River water quality. Were you involved in that at all?
Oh,
Maybe.
no, I'm saying, I was only there five months, but.
Right.
But I was aware of it, they were working on it, but I didn't really get that, go around too much in the public works center. Get rid of the budget, and at that time, one of the main jobs I had was renegotiating the contracts with police, fire.
And then apparently, from what I was able to find, you were on the board of FMPA, Municipal Power?
Municipal Power
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Municipal Power Agency is a agency that's out of Orlando that takes all the electrical cities in Florida.
Okay.
And well, you've got Florida Electric, you've got Tampa Electric, Jackson, JEA.
Clay Electric would be part of that?
Is Clay part of Jackson Electric?
No, that's our,
Well, yeah, it's a co-op.
Yeah. yeah, it's a co-op.
It was a consortium of people who provide electricity, who transported it or produced it for all the electric cities in Florida. That, kind of like your set rules and Kylie wrote on the legislature about rate increases and the PSC, working hard with PSC and all that to keep the rates down as much as we could. And as a result of that, that's the reason I was on this president of the eight state board of the Southeastern Municipal Association.
Also, you've been involved in a group called the Envision Credit Union.
Oh, yes, I'm the board director of the Envision.
Still a member of the board?
Still, I'm not on the board anymore, but when I went to Palatka, I resigned off the board because I didn't know how long I was going to be in Palatka, so
Yeah.
I resigned then.
Yeah.
But I'm still a member.
Yeah. And when you were at the city of Chattahoochee, it looks like you were involved in something called the entrance exit Crawfish Island project. Is that, can you tell us what that was?
It was a little island, I mean, not an island, but an enclave that was surrounded by, railroad had it surrounded. And if it flooded, the creek, they had no in and out. And, we were able to, working with, I want to say the state emergency management and Duke Power and the railroad, we were able to get funding for a one-lane bridge, built up high enough so that people that were back in there when it came up, at least they had an exit out, because there was no way in except a helicopter.
Yeah, no, this was in 2002, and that, you got $50,000, that'd be, what, triple that now,
Oh,
so.
no,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
can buy half a lot.
yeah. That's all I have. Thank you.
Just like with, paving roads, you used to, for $100,000, you can pave a street. Now, $500,000, you can't even pave half a block.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
More questions?
I just want to say thank you for coming and wanting to be a part of this. And I will say age doesn't really have anything to do with anything, because age comes with knowledge. And I'll throw this in. My dad worked for Clay Electric till he was 75 years old. And
Socks older than that, Tommy.
do what?
I say I got socks older.
Well, the kind of work he did, it was pretty good for a 75-year-old. So, but anyhow, I just, I know Mr. Suggs had contacted me and from Palatka. So I just want to say thank you for coming and participating.
And like I say, yesterday I did take the opportunity to meet with realtor across the street to start looking if I'm, which I hope I'm chosen, and get something to rent, and then later on we'll buy or whatever, that rent something temporarily. Because we have my wife, we have an 82-year-old friend of hers from Michigan that was in a bad family relation in Zephyr Hills. She moved in with us a year ago, and so they're like sisters, and they're looking after her, and so that'll be a while. But we'll be back she'll be back and forth up here some, but I'll be living here.
There's no requirement that the city manager be a resident.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I'll hey, I want to be part of the community. I want to get involved in the Rotary and American Legion and who knows what else, church.
Mayor, can I forgot one thing. This city's been involved in Florida League of Cities, Northeast Florida League of Cities. I sit on the board for the North Florida League, and our league is very strong in Tallahassee. So I would definitely, any candidate that we pick, I would like to see them involved in the league.
Yes, sir. And now who's that director of Northeast now? Is that
Betsy.
Betsy?
Betsy.
Betsy.
She was the clerk.
She was clerk at Palatka.
I'm sorry I didn't mention, I also talked to Reverend Tim Hamlin. He thought you were a very, very fine gentleman. Yeah.
But I want to give a list of people there, give some more, and check, but I'm available, immediately available, I don't have to wait for, for 20 days or 30 days notice, because I can be here overnight, and, so I get the notice if I'm so chosen, which I hope I am. And I think, I think I do a good job, but like I say, the only other thing is, the contract is a little different, and we could work with the attorney on that, and it's something I've done as to places I've been, contract.
Vice Mayor, do you have anything?
No,
No?
thank you for coming.
You're welcome, and I hope I get a phone call.
Well, I certainly appreciate you sharing all of your experiences in the civic role that you've had in Georgia and Florida. Definitely very multifaceted challenges. And thank you for being here today for us, and
Now,
wish you the very best.
Just a question, thank y'all, I think you're having a meeting on the 8th, the next meeting is,
We have our next council meeting on the 8th, next Monday.
after today, or y'all gonna try to
Yes,
put together, and
We're going to try to wrap everything up today.
yes.
maybe time to get home, get a phone call. But I am really, just
Thank you.
give me an overnight notice.
Thank you.
And if I get a job, y'all have somebody got a small house or an apartment, something for rent.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm looking. Thank y'all very much.
Drive safe.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
I need to go to the restroom real quick.
Yep. We've got, I think, a break until 1, correct?
That's right.
So we'll do the same thing, start at 1, and do our thing with the references. And then-
Did I do everything?
You
Perfect.
did great.
Very good.
I was like, please